Let me be clear. There is going to be a mass deportation because we just finished a mass illegal immigration crisis on the border. Don't test us. The nation wants a safe country. We've had enough crime in this country, illegal alien crime. It's time to end it and stop it.
Incoming Border Czar Tom Homan vowing to move forward with Donald Trump's plans for mass deportations during a visit to the border this week. How's he planning to get that done? He joins us now, and it's great to have you, Tom Homan, on Cavuto Live. Let's talk about the call that the Mexican president and the president-elect shared. Tom, do you have any insight into the conversations? Because now you've got a situation where you're combating this, but also he's threatening tariffs. It could make it easier, harder, more complicated.
No, look, President Trump proved during the first administration that he's going to hold Mexico accountable. It's against the law in Mexico to traffic in women and children, but they allowed it. It's against the law in Mexico for someone to transit through that country if they're not a citizen in that country, but they allow it. So in Trump's first administration, he had Mexico put military on their southern northern border. He had them participate in the Remain in Mexico program. They didn't want to do it, but President Trump threatened them with tariffs. And look, this is about the safety and security of the United States. We've had a massive, historic illegal immigration the last 4 years. And it's one of the biggest national security threats this country's ever seen. We got over 2 million gotaways. We got a record number of people on terrorist watch lists that were arrested. How many of the 2 million came from a country that sponsored terror? If you think it's zero, then you're not paying attention to the facts. So President Trump's doing what he can to protect this country and protect our national security. He's doing the right thing.
And you were down on the southern border with Governor Abbott in Eagle Pass, witnessing it again for yourself, but firsthand this particular week. You've got some mayors across the country who are saying, we're not going to work with you. As a matter of fact, Tom, we're going to make it as hard as possible for you to do your job and carry out these deportations. I know you've said that you'll put them in jail if you have to, but ultimately you hope it doesn't get to that. How does this play out?
Well, look, here's what they need to understand, right? They don't want ICE, roaming through their neighborhoods and doing this, what they call mass sweep and all this other stuff. Well, give me access to the jail. We want access to your jails, but the sanctuary cities have locked us out of the jails and law enforcement isn't allowed to work with us. Give me access to the bad guy that you locked in a jail cell, because you obviously locked him in a jail cell because he's a public safety threat. That's the person we want to talk to. And when we do that, it's safe. It's safe for the officer, it's safe for the alien himself. But when you knowingly release them back in the community, that means I got to put officers in your community, which is a big danger to officers because now they're working on the bad guy's turf where he has access to who knows what weapons. It puts the community at greater risk of crime and violence. It puts the officer at risk, their safety at risk. It puts the alien safety at risk. So give me access to the jail, because if you don't, that means we got to go in the community to find this person. And when we find him, he's probably with others, and those others are going to come with us too. So if you want to limit ISIS access to communities, give me access to the jail. It's not only a safety issue, it's a common sense issue.
How do you round up the gangs also, Tom? Because there were some recent arrests here in New York City, Tren de Aragua. Ultimately, this is a problem that's not just at the southern border. It's spread its tentacles pretty much everywhere. And you have said you want to get the terrorists, you want to get the criminals, and you want to get them out first.
Exactly. President Trump's been very clear. Out of the gate, we're concentrating on public safety threats and national security threats. And again, I can't figure out why any elected official, mayor or governor, doesn't want public safety threats out of their community. If they don't want to do it, we're going to do it. But look, Tren de Aragua, they're on notice. Their days of committing crimes against U.S. citizens in this country are coming to an end. We're going to hunt them down. We're going to arrest them. We're going to deport them. And by doing that, we have certain law enforcement sensitive systems. I can't explain it on this network, of course, but we have ways to find them. And we're going to arrest them and lock them up. Because even if they're here and have some sort of parole standing, or they're here in some sort of temporary allowance from the Biden administration, there are conditions for release. And being a criminal violates those conditions for release. So we're going to lock them up and detain them until they see a judge. So that's the plan right now.
What do you make of the trip that the Canadian Prime Minister made to Mar-a-Lago?
Good move, because President Trump's serious about tariffs on Mexico. Look, Mexico and Canada. Here's what people need to understand. After 9/11, a study was done by the federal government, and it showed that the terrorists entering this country are 10 times more likely to come to Canada than to Mexico. Yeah. Look, terrorist organizations have a lot of money. They can afford to fly into Canada that has very lax immigration rules. And we know the illegal crossings on the Canadian border in some sectors are up over 800%. It's a huge national security vulnerability. So President Trump's doing the right thing. Treat Mexico and Canada the same way. They need to secure their borders as much as we need to secure ours.
There was some video circulating this week of a little girl in a pink jacket. She was 2 years old. And I know that it brought many people to tears to see still, as we're sitting here, unaccompanied minors coming across the border, human trafficking, all kinds of problems that deal with children specifically. We're not even talking about the drugs and the gangs and the violence that's coming into this country. You know, you sit there and think about the Democrats, and they always say that they care about people and they care about children, and yet they see the same images. They've allowed this to happen, Tom.
Which is exactly why I take this so seriously. Exactly why for 4 years I've been screaming about the southern border. I've said over and over again, this is the biggest humanitarian crisis we ever had on the southern border. That's why I get emotional when I testify in front of Congress. That's why I get emotional on this network, because children die almost every day on that border. 31% of women get sexually assaulted. Open borders, what causes death, not only record number of Americans, a 250,000 people died from fentanyl overdoses under this administration. We got 4,000 illegal aliens that have died crossing this border. We got a record number of migrants dying and a record number of U.S. citizens dying because of the open border. When President Trump had illegal immigration down 90%, 90% less people were coming. How many women weren't being sexually assaulted on the border? How many children weren't dying? How many children weren't left unattended on the border? And how many terrorists didn't make in this country? President Trump's policies were humane. The Biden open borders policies is the most inhumane thing I've ever seen. They're killing Americans at record numbers, killing aliens at record numbers, and cause the biggest national security vulnerability I've seen in this nation. That is why I'm passionate about this. I'm glad they showed that video. My heart breaks for that little girl, but I've held dying children. I've held dead children. I've talked to girls as young as 9 years old that were raped multiple times by cartels. That's what happens in that border. And under the Trump administration, we're going to show that to everybody. We're going to be very transparent so people understand why we have to do what we're doing.
Tom, real quick before I let you go, one of the arguments that the left makes is that if you start deporting people, we're going to have a labor shortage here in this country, that essentially everything hinges on the illegals that are here. Now, that's not necessarily true, because 4 years ago, when Trump shut the border down, we had enough legal immigrants to do the jobs we needed, and the economy certainly didn't hit a standstill. As a matter of fact, when they come here illegally, they don't get permits to work right away because they won't be paying taxes. And so ultimately, they love using that argument, saying, oh, everything's going to shut down as soon as you start taking people out. But that is not true.
As I've testified many times in front of Congress, and Congress, do your job. Do your job and make sense of our immigration laws. But illegal immigration is not a victimless crime. When you cause a crisis as big as you've caused the last 4 years that overwhelms the Border Patrol, where most agents are pulled off their security detail, that's when the fentanyl comes across that kills Americans. That's when the sex trafficking of women and children up 600%. That's when women and children die. So if you want to fix it, Congress, do your job. But until then, we're going to force the laws of this country. We're going to force the laws enacted by Congress and signed by the president, and we're not going to be apologetic about it. We need to secure the border and save lives.
Tom, great to see you this morning. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.